Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and today, I have an amazing guest with me by the name of Desiree Williams. You are seeing her on Wednesdays on CBS through the Challenge USA. She had an amazing book called Love Affair with My Hair, Why Black Women Cheat on Health. She has a mobile health business as well, which kind of helps you keep squared away for the challenge, which is a big challenge. Because I can't do what y'all do. I'm not even gonna try. I'm old and angry at being old and not willing to challenge myself that way. But you're an amazing person, and I'm happy to have you. Thank you for being with us, Desiree.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so from the inside looking out, talk to us about Desiree Williams.
Cool, that is like a loaded question. Obviously, my resume, I've done a million things and continue to do a million different things. I would say, like, at my core, at my heart, I'm like, I want to call myself an overachiever, but I'm a person who likes to experience a lot of things in life. Maybe it's the Gemini in me, I don't know. I can't my mind doesn't work in one direction. I'm constantly thinking of 10 things at once. So it's important to me that I've always got a lot of things going on and that I am being challenged. I'm still at an age where I enjoy being challenged. And if I'm not being challenged, then I'm bored and I'm done with it. So I own this mobile physical therapy and occupational therapy business. We've been in practice for about 2.5 years. We started right before the pandemic and sort of had that struggle of trying to keep a business afloat during a global pandemic. But here we are out on the other side. What else can I tell you about myself? I have co-authored this book a few years ago. I'm a former pageant contestant. So I competed at Miss USA, I competed at Miss America. And in my past life, I was also a college professor. So those are kind of all the things that I've done in my life. And I'm now at a point in my life where I'm looking to achieve not so much like outward success that other people see, but a personal success where I feel like I said, I'm being challenged and am rising to the occasion.
Okay. Well, it's amazing what you've done. I mean, you won Miss Virginia. You're so humble. You don't have to be humble because that's a social construct. You won the Miss Virginia USA and went on to compete in the national, obviously, pageant. We hear mixed reviews, obviously. And I'm a guy, I like watching it. I don't understand all that goes with it, but we hear mixed reviews about pageants and what it does to the self-esteem and et cetera, et cetera. What made you go into pageantry?
Gosh, I feel like I talk about my grandmother ad nauseum. People are probably sick and tired of it, but it really stems from my grandmother. So I'll make the story as brief as possible. But my senior year in high school, I went to visit Hampton University on a college visit. It was honors visitation weekend. I actually had no intention of going to Hampton. I wanted to go to the University of Georgia. I was from Georgia. That's where my heart was set on going. But during that weekend, I went with my mom and my grandmother to the Miss Hampton University pageant. And so I looked at my grandmother at the end of the pageant and I said, you know what, Grandma, like if I come to Hampton, I am going to be Miss Hampton University. And I kind of just threw it out there very flippantly because, again, I thought I was going to UGA. Fast forward, I got a full scholarship to Hampton. That's where I ended up. And I was at the Thanksgiving, gathering my plate at Thanksgiving dinner my junior year of college. And my grandmother approached me and said, hey, Desi, aren't you supposed to be doing a pageant next year? And I was like, how does this lady remember this promise? I literally threw out into the universe 3 years before that. So my first pageant was really just being a woman of my word. Like I told my grandmother I was going to do this thing. She has remembered that I told her I was going to do this thing. So now I'm going to do this thing and compete in a pageant. To my surprise and her surprise, I won that pageant. And I kind of caught the bug from there. That year, Miss Hampton was not going to Miss Virginia. So I entered another local pageant. It took me to Miss Virginia. My first year at Miss Virginia, I got first runner-up. which was a shock to me. Like, I literally didn't own a curling iron. I didn't know how to do my makeup. I don't know how I got first runner-up. But I knew if I could get first runner-up knowing nothing, I could probably win once I know a little bit of something. So I went back the next year, won Miss Virginia, then went on to win Miss Virginia USA a couple of years later, went to compete at Miss USA. So really, I got started in pageants as a promise to my grandmother, and kind of took off from there.
Okay. Well, don't worry about the curling iron. You're naturally stunning. Everybody can see beyond the makeup. And then you're brilliant. So obviously, you know, you presented well, and your platform was accepted and enough to get you to first runner-up. So, you know, beyond the beauty, obviously they cared about what was inside and what you presented. So you did something strong. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On your process. So Survivor, overachieve, and hello, fellow Gemini. Okay.
Yes, Gemini.
Yeah, June 16th myself. So
I'm the 14th. So we're like
all right,
really
all right.
next to each other.
June Geminis are special. May Geminis got something, leave something to be desired, but June Geminis are special. I'm just gonna say it like that.
I like to think so.
All right, so season 35 of Survivor, you did such an exceptional job that CBS brought you back and invited you, sought you out to do the Challenge USA. Talk to us about that process, and when you got the call, like, what were you thinking?
All right, again, a very loaded question. So first of all, I was excited when I got the call, obviously. I competed on Survivor in 2017 and got the call for Challenge USA like the end of December 2021. So in my head, I was like, I thought my reality TV days were over, thought I was long forgotten, way in the past. So I was shocked, obviously honored that I even got a phone call. Like, I tell people all the time, I don't know like what barrel they dug me out of to find me amongst all these other awesome Survivor players, but I was really grateful for the opportunity. And then I started watching the more recent seasons of the challenge. So I was a fan back when I was a young girl, like was obsessed, used to watch it as a 10-year-old girl when I was not allowed to watch MTV. But I hadn't watched any of the recent seasons. So then I started watching the recent seasons and I became terrified. Because if you've watched the MTV's The Challenge, they do some pretty outrageous things. And by outrageous, I mean like dangerous. Like, in my head as a healthcare professional, I'm thinking of all the different ways that these things could go wrong and somebody could be seriously injured and it could change your life forever in a negative way. So then I became terrified. But then I also had this voice in the back of my head, like telling me this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Again, my grandmother was a woman of adventure who certainly worked really hard and didn't have the same opportunities I now have as a woman growing up in the 2000s versus, a young woman growing up in the 30s. So there's always kind of this voice in the back of my head that's like, if an opportunity comes your way, that is positive, and that I know would not have been available for the women who came before me, I've got to take it. So it's kind of one of those things where I was terrified, but I knew that it was something I couldn't pass up.
Seizing the day and opportunity seems to be your natural way of doing things and being prepared. Seems like you've got a philosophy that says that good things come to those who seize the day and every opportunity. How have you prepared through life? And I have to, obviously the education and the pageantry things. So you've learned how to, do things with exceptional style and grace and according to what I consider the designs of people who don't wear our uniform. So you've been able to cross over and bring your point of view and our point of view to people who may not necessarily have thought about us before. And it's a big responsibility that you've taken on your shoulders. And so thank you for that.
Yeah.
I like what you said, not blind luck, but purposeful luck, created by growing, learning, and connecting with people. Talk to me about that philosophy.
Yeah. So, you kind of hit the nail on the head that, obviously the pageant world very much ruled by Caucasian women. I mean, it's very much changed in recent years, but if you look at past pageant winners, especially in the state of Virginia, they're all white, blonde hair, blue-eyed. So it's been sort of initially a difficult balancing act because I wanted to be me and I wanted to represent me, but I also knew that there was a part of it where I still have to appeal to the masses. So, I mean, now I wear my hair natural often. I go back and forth between natural and straight. But when I was competing in pageants, for me, it was like, I've got no option. I've got to wear my straight hair. I've got to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to spend too much time in the summer and get super, super dark because that might be off-putting to people. So I constantly had these thoughts in the back of my head that I do think at the time forced me to whitewash myself in a way that now as a 32-year-old woman, I don't feel like I have to do anymore. And I'm also happy to say that I feel like the pageant world has come a long way where now they are crowning Black women with natural hair, with wearing their natural hair on stage. And I don't know that they would have done that 10 years ago when I was competing. I don't want to say they wouldn't have, but we've certainly come a long way in the world of pageants. But I was told something very early on in my pageant days that's kind of stuck with me with every kind of next achievement that I've gotten. And when I was initially Miss Virginia, somebody told me, you might be the only Miss Virginia anybody ever meets. So you've got to present yourself in a way that a person is going to have a positive experience or a positive perception of a Miss Virginia based upon that one opportunity. And I felt the same way about, being a Black woman entrepreneur. I felt the same way about being a Black woman on TV, on a reality television show. So I kind of always have that voice in the back of my head that I'm not just representing myself, I'm representing every woman who wants this opportunity, or, my grandmother who was on this earth 100 years ago and who did not have this opportunity simply because of the color of her skin. So it is a big weight to take on, but I think it's important, and I wish I saw more of it on television, that Black women were thinking with that mentality, because it is important that we're not just always represented on TV as like loud and mad and rude and rolling our necks. Like, we come in a spectrum of different personalities, shapes, ideas, backgrounds. And I think it's important that that's portrayed on television more than I feel like it is now. So that's kind of always in the back of my head, that I am representing so much more than just myself.
Was that one of the factors that drove you to take the upper level classes and become and get your doctorate? You felt like you needed to add the doctor on in order to gain additional respect? Were they not? I mean, I understand that women have challenges. Women of color have even more unique challenges. So the addition of the doctorate, was that a motivating factor because of the difficulties?
I mean, I will also say that I'm kind of an academic nerd. So
Okay.
I initially wanted to be a physician, and then I dated a guy in college who was in medical school, and he was in the library all day long. And I thought, like, that can't be my life. So I sort of switched realms to get a different kind of doctorate degree. So I've always wanted to achieve a higher education. But I also remember growing up, my grandmother saying to me, like, in my day, women could only be secretaries or teachers. Those were the two, or I mean, Black, maybe other women, Black women specifically could only be secretaries or teachers. Those were the only career options. So it was important for her to instill in me, like, look at all of the different careers and figure out which career you want, but you don't, like, I no longer had to be pigeonholed into one of two professions. I've got all these options. So take all these options and run with them. And that's sort of what I've done as I, go from professor to physical therapist to now entrepreneur, is I'm seeing this world open up before me. And I feel like the more education I have, the more experiences I get, I feel better equipped to take on a new challenge.
Okay. That's fair. I thought I'm a concurrent master's and doctorate candidate now in communications.
Congratulations.
I just want to be called doctor because, in the other life, I was a soldier and a peon and this, that, and the third. And so at my age, I want to achieve something different and I want to be looked at differently. I thought perhaps, and that's my id, obviously speaking, but being that you're standing forefront in the trenches for Black women and have successive generations of Black girls and young ladies that are watching you and seeing, to say, Dr. Desiree Williams is competing in the challenge and doing this goofy stuff and having fun. That speaks volumes in that you don't have to be a stuffy academic. You can have fun and enjoy life and experience life and still demand your respect and be respected.
Right. And I do think that's important for young girls to see, because I think they're so attracted to like the Nicki Minaj's of the world and the, the Cardi B's of the world, who are loud and beautiful and perceivingly having all of this fun in life, but maybe not achieving academically or in a traditional professional sense. And I think it's important for people to see that, like, you can be educated and have a professional career, but still have fun and still be able to loosen up. Like, the two are not mutually exclusive. You can do both things at the same time. And hopefully Black women or Black girls, as they're growing up now, are able to see that perception of success versus, the traditional kind of pop star, rap star, R&B, love and hip hop type personality. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they need to know that there are options.
You might not be able to say it because you have to be politically correct, but I am, my nickname is Grumpy Grampy, and I'm going to say it. I'm tired of looking at the booty models and these girls thinking that that's what they have to dress like and present like. Congratulations to Megan Thee Stallion, who is brilliant mentally, but nobody has taken the time, because of the outward appearance. They focused on that, as opposed to the fact that she just graduated from university as well. She's making a difference. Things that she's doing quietly on the sideline, they don't get to shine. All that gets to shine is her twerking and et cetera, which is garbage because she's brilliant. So I don't have to be nice. I could say what I want to say. Is my show. And
get it off your chest.
Hey, I'm having fun. Look, I'm a father of 6 children, 15 grandbabies, and the majority of them are female. I was raised with 9 sisters and a mother, and so therefore women are very precious to me, and the way they're perceived and treated. So I'm a little old school.
Yeah, you are busy too. That's busy.
Well, yeah. But God said what we're supposed to do. I just did that. And now I get an opportunity to speak to amazing people like yourself who are doing things and presenting, pictures for our successive generations that my daughters can look at. And I go, look, fine, you can do your eyebrows and your eyelashes and everything, but you know what? You can get your education. You can go have fun, be challenged, show courage, because yes, those things that you're talking about, especially on the challenge, can create fear, but courage is overcoming the fear. It's what you do working through the fear. So that's another metaphor that presents itself through the show. And, you're front and center. And once again, I congratulate you. What is the most important thing that you feel we should know about Dr. Desiree Williams? I love saying that. Doctor.
I like saying it too. Feels good. What is the most important thing? That's a big question. Oh man, you've kind of stumped me there.
I'm sorry.
My resume has a lot of things, but I don't know what's most important. I would say what's most important to me right now, and maybe not across the course of my life, is really building a business and being a successful entrepreneur. That's, my newest undertaking, and it's what's making me the most uncomfortable and fearful right now is, the success of my business. And am I doing the right things day by day that are going to make my business successful without sacrificing personally who I am and sacrificing what's important to me? And I encountered and had a lot of conversations with people who are very successful in business, but are maybe doing some things that are questionable morally. So it's important to me that I have that moral compass as I grow my business. So I'd say that's what's most important to me now, that I am, a a budding entrepreneur, and I'm learning day by day, and I'm challenging myself day by day. And I guess to people who are from the outside looking in, to know that like everything that's posted on social media is not real life. I mean, it's real life, but we're only showing the highlights of our life. So I have daily struggles and daily frustrations, and there are days when I break down and cry. There are days when I'm overwhelmed, just like everybody else. My social media looks happy and 100% successful, but starting a business is challenging, and I do have struggles, and I have ups and downs just like everyone else. And I think it's important that people from the outside looking in know that just because we're on TV and seeming to live this like perfect life, we're all struggling one way or another. We're overcoming those struggles, and that, like you said, is what's most important. But yeah, being an entrepreneur and kind of learning every day how to do that better and be better, I think is what's most important for me, that people know about me right now.
So having your own business can be fun. It's an amazing experience. It's a lot of work. People say, oh, you work for yourself, you control your time. No, you don't. That corporate person that we are trying to become controls our time and our energy, and calls for the sacrifice sometimes of going out, sacrifice of sleep, and in order to build a better presentation, maybe your media kit or your deck, your pitch deck, or whatever, or you're preparing to, since you're mobile, go to a new location and set up and try to gain new fans, followers, patients, etc. There's a lot to it. So what has been the most surprising to you as you navigated the entrepreneurial maze? Come around the corner, you go, what the world?
I mean, every day it's something new. If I'm being, especially in the state of like there are so many labor laws in the state of California that are changing every day. Like literally legislation comes out every 6 months. It's like, oh, now you have to do this, now you have to do that. So that's been what's most overwhelming, is just like, it really is constant. And my to-do list, as soon as I feel like I'm checking things off, I've got 10 more things added. So I would just say like the pure, like how much work it truly is. And you hear entrepreneurs say that all the time, like, oh, it's not easy, it was a struggle. And it's one thing to hear it, and it's a completely different thing to be living in it day by day. So I would just, the sheer amount of work that it has required, like you said, the sleep that has been lost, the long hours I have had to work, the weekends I've been staring at my computer all day or on the phone all day while everybody else is out having a grand old time. And then also just like the financial commitment. It's taken longer to grow and build our business than I initially anticipated. So that's been financially difficult. So I would say just juggling all of those different things. It is special, and I love working for myself, and I love being an entrepreneur because I do feel like I'm making a difference, and I do feel like I'm starting to see the growth in the business that I wanted to, but the time spent to get here has not been easy at all.
Understood. You kind of said what is pretty satisfying to you, but what's the most satisfying to you about having your own and pushing it forward and seeing it succeed and catching the rewards?
I would say like the personal growth that I feel like I've experienced in the process. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I called my mom, like, Mom, I think like today is the last day of this business. I think I'm going to shut this business down. And then it was always like, and I'm not super, super religious, but I would say I'm spiritual. There would be like something that God sent, and was like a message or something would happen, or I get an approval that I've been waiting months for. And that would be sort of the reminder that maybe I am on the right path. Like God wouldn't keep on dropping these crumbs along the way if I weren't on the right path. So I would say that just like the personal growth, and really even the spiritual growth, because I don't know that I always have taken the time to listen and to recognize like what God has given me or what the universe has given me in these moments. And I feel like the toughest times of being an entrepreneur have really forced me to like take a step back and trust and have faith. And I've been able to see those like sprinkle of crumbs and representations of faith throughout the process.
Okay. What's the most fun?
The most fun part of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
I mean, not having to request vacation days is probably the best part about it. I do have a business partner, so I'm not doing this completely alone. So we kind of juggle, and if I'm going on vacation, she completely takes over, and vice versa. So yeah, not having to like put in a request for vacation and cross my fingers that it gets approved, as I've already like booked my flight and hotel, you know, what we do as traditional employees. So it's nice to plan a vacation and know that I can make that vacation happen. And I've got a business partner who's, you know, got my back.
Okay. You know, your story is one of like massive intestinal fortitude, from the competitions, both pageantry and physical competitions like Survivor, oh my God, to the challenge, to being an entrepreneur. And you're a massive statement about guts and, you know, working to get the glory based on hard work. And I got to ask you this, since you went all the way through doctorate, were you a scholarship student in your undergrad?
I was, yeah.
Okay, well that kills this.
I went to school on a full scholarship.
Oh, see, so you had a meal card and all that good stuff. So my next question, I'm gonna ask it anyway. What was your favorite college struggle meal?
My favorite college struggle meal. So they used to sell these in the frozen food section. I think they were like Marie Calendar frozen foods, and they were $1 each, which I know is like not the biggest struggle because there were people who were eating ramen noodles for 10 cents each. And I do remember the ramen noodle days, but I never enjoyed them. So I would say those like Marie Calendar meals that were $1 each, and it was like, what was like a fettuccine Alfredo, and I just really felt like I was doing something when I had my little frozen fettuccine Alfredo. But mostly I ate in the cafeteria. I was one of those people.
I ain't mad at you. Mine was Orange Crush and nacho cheese Doritos. That was mine.
I
lived on those things. Cream cheese, had to have cream cheese on the Doritos. Oh, don't look at me like that. Don't judge me. It's so amazing once you have that combination.
That's wild. I mean, I love cream cheese, so maybe it would be good, but that's a wild combination to discover.
Yeah, it was completely just weird, you know. Anyway, is there anything you wanted to cover, Dr. Desiree Williams, that I may have neglected?
I mean, I feel like this is a pretty well-rounded conversation. I mean, yeah, I am happy to be a part of this. I'm happy to represent for the Black community. I am happy to be an HBCU grad. And I think all those things are important. And I hope that there's a young girl out there watching who, you know, takes something away from this and hopefully can do something different than they thought, or achieve more than they thought, or like you said, just have the courage. Because most things I've done have been outside of my comfort zone. Pageants were outside of my comfort zone. Survivor obviously was outside of everybody's comfort zone. I'm terrified of heights, but you see me every week on the challenge dropping from hundreds of feet because that's what they like to do on the challenge. So I would just say to anybody listening, like, whatever fears you have, overcome them. Whatever struggles you're having, it's only temporary. So you can struggle temporarily for a long-term gain. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
So what is the name of your mobile physical therapy business?
It's called A+ Care.
Okay, and where can we find more about it?
Yeah, so we are located in the greater Los Angeles area. Our website is just www.apluscarela.com. We're also on Instagram at A+CareLA. Or you can just, you know, hit me up on my personal Instagram, which is Desiree J. Williams.
Okay, all right. She got a nice little following, 16.5K. That ain't bad.
Oh, it's gone up since then.
Oh, no, I missed out. Yeah, I slept. I should have double checked it today. All right,
we can see the numbers.
We can see her every Wednesday on the challenge. It airs on CBS 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific and Eastern. 9. So
It's
that's
9.
9:30.
It's 9. It's actually 9. The premiere episode was at 9:30. Every episode after that has been at 9, which I know is confusing.
Okay. Yeah, the 3-hour time difference. They had me confused with that extra 30 minutes. I'm like, that don't match.
Right.
I can do
Right.
I can do time zones that don't match. All right.
Right.
So every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. East Coast.
It's actually on at
Well,
9 p.m. in both time zones. So it comes on at 9 on the East Coast, and then 3 hours later, we watch it at 9 on the West Coast.
okay.
I know. Things I didn't know either until I moved to California. I'm like, what y'all mean? You're watching something live 3 hours after we've watched it live?
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so 9 o'clock all the way around, East Coast, West Coast. Wednesdays is the day. The Challenge USA is Dr. Desiree Williams. She's an amazing competitor, from Survivor to doggone pageants to now the Challenge to being an entrepreneur, handling and the hassle of doing business in California, which is insane for sole proprietors or limited liability corporations nowadays. Like you said, Governor Newsom is not necessarily helping the small business person, and the other folks ain't helping either. But I wish you much continued success. I feel in my heart of hearts that you'll be someone we'll be talking about for decades. And I'm happy to have met you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Time Magazine Live Sessions, Dr. Desiree Williams. Been a pleasure, and we're out.